Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. Hey, welcome aboard. Lee Grant is in the house from Montgomery County. Of course, we got Michael Rutten in the house from Brooklyn, New York. We have in the house as well the one and only Yvette Avery Herod, or beautiful Yvette from Atlanta, Georgia. Who else is in the house? All right, folks, speak up, speak up, speak up. I don't have you all registered yet. I don't see you all making yourselves known. Anyway, let's have a great show. Para ver. ¿Dónde vamos a comenzar? Where are we going to start? This crash, when I hear the personal stories about these young ice skaters, these young performers, their parents who've invested so much in them. When you just hear the stories, it is sad. It is sad. And, you don't want to politicize an event like this and not just see it as a tragedy, but I am so sorry that in these times, when we have to make choices, when we have to decide, when we have the fate of the entire America at hand, it is something that we better do. It is something that Democrats better learn how to do and not just look at it as being beneath us. I think it used to be beneath us. I think these are things that nobody wants to happen, whether you are left, right, middle, whatever. You don't want these things to happen. But policy matters. Not only does policy matters, but the psyche of America matters. And most importantly, we have to stop thinking about just the logical thinking with which many of us think and the complete gullibility, complete lack of critical thinking of some of our brothers and sisters. And we have to get to the level where we put things in the context that they have been indoctrinated to learn under. I sit down and think about this all the time. After all, I wrote the book, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors. And, in that book, I make a mention of going to where people are. But my God, in a lot of ways, and I've been noticing this so often, going to where some are takes you into some places that really makes you, the word isn't uncomfortable. The word is, my God, how can you be wired to believe that? How can you be wired to not examine these words that are coming out or these thoughts that you're having? And I'm doing that on my morning show a lot, where I talk to people. And it was interesting. Lee the Bearcat, Eddie was on fire? Not really. I don't know if you noticed, but ultimately, Eddie, in as much as he didn't quite say it, agreed with exactly what I was saying. His main point was, aren't you doing the same thing Trump is doing? The answer was, yeah, we were both speculating, but my speculation was more logical than his speculation, but it's even deeper. I am a media host. He is the president of the United States. The other concept that he couldn't quite understand is the concept that not all white people think like he does. And I had nothing against the way he thought. I thought he was a decent young man, but he simply was unable to see that his reality was not the reality of many or of most. But anyway, I can't just have this conversation with you, Lee the Beer Cat, because not everybody goes to the morning program. But look, I appreciate you being I appreciate you being there and watching. All right, welcome aboard, Alistair Waters, my beautiful Alistair. Haven't seen you in a while. We also have here in the house, para ver, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Alistair is from Conroe, Texas. And we have Lee the Beer Cat. Lee, you never told me where you're from. Where are you from, Lee the Beer Cat? Gayla Kunis. How are you, Gayla? Gayla, where are you at again? I may have forgotten. And let's see, Joyce Meyer. Joyce, is that a scam? Is that a spam? Look, if you want to say something, ask. Don't just throw something out there and put propaganda in my feed, Joyce. Try to be respectful. Try to be respectful. Come on now. Let's see what else we've got here. Michael says, Lee the Beer Cat, Minnesota Department of Health. United States makes up 4.4% of the population and consume over 80% of the world's opioid. It tells you that we're a sick country, right? It tells you that we have problems. People are in pain. People are in pain. That's the issue. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody else up top? If I missed you, just I guess Joe. How are you doing, Joe? Joanne called earlier this morning as well to the program in the morning. Thank you for calling in, Joanne. I enjoy hearing from you. Lee Grant is in the house from Montgomery County. And I think I got everybody in. Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. And let's see. Mike Rudnin says Joyce is an automated spam bot. Thank you for that. And Lee Grant says we need to see how the Trump tariffs shake out. We buy a lot of Mexican produce in Southeast Texas. Again, your guys got to bring us right back into inflation. So, inflation is the increase in price of products. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. And he is going to cause the increase in prices and products. And you know what else he's going to do? He's going to stunt Mexicans buying our products because our products are already high. And when Mexico puts the reciprocal tariffs on our products, it gets higher. Hey, Colton just became a member, folks. Colton Llanos, my favorite former barista at Starbucks. Very intelligent young man. When I tell you a very intelligent young man, folks, you can sit down and talk. I love Gen Zers, right? I think, hey, Carlton, Colton, are you a Gen Zer or a Gen Yer? I think you're a Gen Zer because I think you're younger than my daughter. But very smart young man, reads a lot, and he's starting a Substack. Hey, throw your Substack in there so people can visit your Substack, Colton. Throw it into the house. Throw the address of your Substack. I want us to realize this, folks. All of us, right, are going to have to become the media for the crap that's occurring right now. And we have to start listening to people who are read and who are able to go to the level of folks and inform. That's where we have to go. Bridge MCP is in the house from Binghamton, New York. Yes, let's see who else we have in the house. We also have in the house, para ver, ¿dónde están los demás? All right. Michael says, Lee Grant, I wonder if you understand that tariffs are an import tax which we'll pass on to people. We import something like $200 billion of groceries per year. Those will be direct increases in cost. There's not even counting the greedflation, where corporations will increase prices above and beyond tariff. Thank you for pointing that out, El Señor Rudnin. I think eventually MAGA will see. What I want to see, 92, you're a millennial. Huh. Okay, Colton, I get you. Here is the thing. I don't know what MAGA is going to do when these prices start going up, because I don't know how he turns around and blame Biden or blame something else, because we've already telegraphed what's going to happen. So here's the job for all the critical thinkers in the room. If you just promote your message on Facebook or wherever you promote your message by emails or whatever, start putting the message out. If the tariffs becomes effectuated, in other words, we don't know if he's going to really throw the 25% tariffs on tomorrow. It's supposed to start tomorrow. 25% on Canada, 25% on Mexico, and 10% on China. That means all your Walmart goods, those cheap goods you buy at Walmart, because we are already scrapping for money. Those cheap goods that you do at Walmart, they're going to be increased in price by, it won't be 10%, because let me give you some mathematics here. Let's say Walmart buy the thing at an average cost of $10. That is likely at 33% markup. So it really costs $7. With a 10% tariff, they will go ahead, and that costs Walmart about 70 cents more. So therefore, the markup will be $10 plus 70 cents will be less than the 10%, will be about 7% markup. Walmart, to satisfy Trump, may delay some of the increases, and China may go ahead and reduce some of the prices. So the Walmart increase may not be all that large. That's why they make it 10%. They made it 10% because they understand that a 10% tariff can be eaten with a one-time 2 or 3% increase in cost in the index, in the inflation index. They get a chance to pull a lot of money out of the economy with the tariff, but then they who pays for that tariff ultimately? The customer does, but it's not the 10%. It's going to ultimately cost them about 3%, 4% when all the different machinations occur. But the ones from Mexico and Canada, 25%. You can't quite eat 25%. So sit back. In all of your blogs, in all of your writings, start to promote that the Trump tax increase via sales taxes that affect everybody. You can't deduct it. You can't do any of that. Anyway, Bridge has something she's telling me she wants for the screen. And if Bridge wants it for the screen, it goes to the screen. And here it is. Let's see what Bridge wants me to put out there. Here we go, Bridge. Defense Intelligence Agency orders pause on special emphasis programs, activities, and events pause for Martin Luther King Jr. birthday, Black History Month, Women's History Month, Holocaust Day, Days of Remembrance, Asian American Pacific Islanders Heritage Month Pride, Juneteenth, Women's Equality Day, National Hispanic Heritage Month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, National American Indian Heritage Month. Please tell me, the guy's doing this because he wants to hurt people of color. But so that it doesn't appear that way, he has to hit everybody, right? You see how that works, guys? You see how that works? Anyway, thank you for that, Bridge. Let's see. I think I see another one here that somebody else wants on. What is that one about? I just had to look at the picture and understand what it is. In other words, Estados Unidos de América is what it used to look like. Y los Estados Unidos de México. That is what it looks like. And after the Mexican-American War, when Mexico lost Texas, New Mexico, California, and Arizona, we have what it is today. So in other words, the border is what moved, right? It's not the Mexicans that moved in the aggregate. The border moved. Wow. That's a good one. A lot of people don't understand that. But you know what else a lot of people don't understand? That our economy is integral to the undocumented worker. We need there. And by the way, folks, there's a big freeze on Monday. I don't know if it's going to be successful or not. I am not sure if it's going to be successful or not. But what they're asking is for all Latinos not to go to work on Monday, just so America can see what happens when Latinos don't go to work. Because this country is dependent from our produce to our meat packing to our, you name it, it's necessary. Okay? All right, what else have we got here, folks? Anything else you guys want me to say before I go to my first video? Para ver qué más tenemos aquí. Lee Grant says we need less fentanyl in the U.S. The tariffs could help. No, the tariffs won't help. Here's the thing, Lee Grant. Republicans like to talk about personal responsibility. I want everybody to listen to this. Republicans love to speak about personal responsibility, right? Personal responsibility means if you have a problem, you take care of the problem. You woman up, you man up, and take care of the problem. But that's not what they're doing here. What they're saying is we can't control our emotions. We can't control our cravings. And given that we're a capitalist country, what capitalism does is it feeds a need, right? Come on now. Capitalism 101. If there is a need, if there's a demand, we don't care about this. We do not care about morality. Capitalism cares nothing about morality. Capitalism cares nothing about humanity. And therefore, capitalism says, if there's a demand, we will find a way to get you the supply. Americans love their drugs. And instead of Trump saying, let's create the environment in America to make people more happy so that they are not dependent on drugs, so that they don't depend on alcohol, so that they don't depend on these mollies and all these things to kill the pain. Since they are not doing that, what do we want to do? We want to stop fentanyl at the border. And if fentanyl comes into the country, and by the way, most of it doesn't come from south or north of the border. A lot of it flies right in through the airports. Okay. A lot of it comes through little subs that makes itself offshore in these thousands of miles of coastline that we have. But instead of doing the right thing, we destroy an economy purporting to go ahead and stop fentanyl. Instead of nipping the problem, America has a fentanyl problem. Take care of the fentanyl problem, and according to your belief in capitalism, the fentanyl would stop crossing the border. What has happened since we've made growing marijuana in the United States legal? The prices have fallen. You can buy marijuana cheap now, right? And not only that, the taxes that are collected in it can help people get around it. Come on, people. That's what it's all about. Now, I always have to bring this story up for our new callers because this makes me irate. America loves its drugs. America loves its crack. America loves its cocaine. America loves its heroin. All these things America loves. And people south of the border, in order to make more money, after all, Chiquita Banana and all these guys that came to Latin America and exploited us. A lot of business people in Panama or Colombia, they say, well, they come and they take our fruits, etc. We have an export drug. They love their drugs. We can export our drugs to them. And that's what they do. So Manuel Antonio Noriega, my dictator from Panama, was able to say, since America loves its drug and Colombia wants a market, I'll be the middleman. I used to work for the CIA. The CIA would turn the eye, and America would let all those drugs in, and America did it. America allowed Manuel Antonio Noriega to bring to finance, or rather, to facilitate drugs from Colombia and South America into America. He was a capitalist. He was a good capitalist. When he decided not to follow the CIA to invade Nicaragua, the CIA no longer liked him, So they purportedly invaded Panama to go get Noriega in order to do what? In order to stop Americans from buying drugs from, South America. And they killed 10,000 people in the process. America says 1,000. The UN says 4,000. I know where Chorrillo is. 10,000 people. Okay? 10,000 people. That is how we solve our problems, people. That is how we solve our problems. Okay, anybody else have anything to say before I jump to the first video? Let's see. Michael Radin says, CBS News, the Pentagon intelligence arm has issued a memo pausing any activities related to Martin Luther King. Yep, we kind of covered that one already. Michael also say MAGA won't see until after they're personally affected, but you can expect Trump to blame someone else. All right. Trade wars may turn into hot wars. Have to watch where the right-wing hate goes when they start feeling the sharp cost. I always said the most dangerous thing is when MAGA realize they've been had. And the reason why is these guys have guns and they prove that they like to use them. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, Bridge MCP says 20 million chickens killed with bird flu. Good times to pause NIH and CDC communication. And I got another story on that coming up in a minute. Bridge shared Blue Sky. What's on Blue Sky that you shared? Okay, Mike. Let's see what else we got here. I'm scrolling down. Of course, Mike is nonsensical when he talks about Doge. Doge is a joke. Bridge also says, Americans are the ones bringing in drugs. Mexico has been trying to spot them. You guys wouldn't know the truth if it smacked you. And Joe says, I have dead friends from ODs on opiates. I get it, girl. I get it. All right. Let me go to the video first. Joyanne Reid. I love Joyanne Reid. My good friend, Michael Rudden, is not too fond of her because of her proclivity to support Biden, I believe. But Joyanne Reid did I'm sorry. I'm not going to do Joyanne Reid first. I'm going to do Rachel Maddow first. I want this story first. Rachel Maddow did a great story last night contrasting General Austin, the Secretary of Defense Austin, against Hegseth. All right. And, the MAGA loves to talk. Anytime MAGA see a woman in a position or a person of color in position, whatever, they always jump on the DEI bandwagon. Makes no sense. I've lived it. One of the reasons I wrote my latest book, guess what it is? Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man, is because I got tired of folks actually believing that somehow people of color get breaks, that DEI give people of color breaks. It's a joke. It's ridiculous. In fact, most people, the people that get the most benefits out of DEI programs are white women. And I don't have a problem with that. There are more white women in the country than anything else. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm saying those people who criticize DEI always do it under the assumption that Black people, Latinos, and others are the ones who are recipients of most of DEI. It's not the case. But, as I always say, and I mentioned this in my book as well, when I was growing up and we lived on the Canal Zone in an apartheid section of the Canal Zone, right? The United States brought apartheid to Panama. And those people who lived, the Panamanians who worked for the Americans in the Canal Zone in Panama, lived in a state of apartheid. Okay? Now, when they came, they actually, because of the conditions in that area, my parents would always tell me, you have to work twice as hard to get half as much. And I've told you guys that before. And I want to show you the corollary of this. Because if you look at the life of Secretary of Defense Austin versus the new Secretary of Defense, tell me how anyone could call Austin DEI and not call Hegseth somebody that's way out of his league, but because of who he is, was able to get that job. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
He played rugby and he ran track at West Point. He also did 2 master's degrees and got an MBA on top of that. Rifle platoon leader, scout platoon leader, then company executive officer, battalion commander, and then brigade commander in the 82nd Airborne. He helped lead the initial invasion of Baghdad in March 2003. He rolled his mechanized division straight from the Kuwait border overland right into the center of Baghdad, won a Silver Star for his valor in that operation. Then to Afghanistan, where he led the 10th Mountain Division. Then he became chief of staff at CENTCOM. Then he was the top U.S. commander in the Iraq War, in the whole war. He was actually the one who wound down U.S. forces at the end of the Iraq War. He was then named vice chief of staff of the United States Army. Then he went back to CENTCOM, this time as commander of CENTCOM. Then he built and led the force that waged the war against ISIS. And then, and only then, was he considered for the really big job, Secretary of Defense. And that is the man who just left office as Secretary of Defense. The man who just arrived to take his job, he was a platoon leader in the National Guard, but now he too is Secretary of Defense. Both of them, obviously, honorable records of service. Not equivalent, though, I think you'd say, in terms of demonstrated leadership, experience, complex organizational management experience in particular. I mean, 4-star General Lloyd Austin had led like a whole war or 2. And he had been chief of staff and then commander at CENTCOM just before being named as defense secretary. CENTCOM is the part of the U.S. military that has as its area of responsibility the Middle East and Central Asia and South Asia. That was what he was in charge of. I mean, that was his experience heading in to become defense secretary. That's who has just left as defense secretary. The guy who has just arrived, well, just before he was named as defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, he led 1/3 of the famous Curvy Couch on the Fox and Friends Fox News Channel weekend show. I have to say, it may be that he led 1/4 of the couch, not 1/3. I'm not totally sure how many hosts they have, but we could only find these pictures of him sharing with 2, so maybe he held down 1/3. That said, prior to his time at the Fox News Channel, Mr. Hegseth also ran into the ground 2 small right-wing veterans groups amid allegations, which he denies, of wild financial mismanagement, nepotism, sexual harassment, public drunkenness, and even drinking on the job. For one of those organizations, an independent forensic accountant found evidence of gross financial mismanagement while Pete Hegseth was administering that organization. And so then they made him Secretary of Defense. 2 guys, same job. He played rugby and he ran track at West Point. He also did 2 master's degrees and got an MBA on top of that. Rifle platoon leader, scout platoon leader.
Well, sorry about that. I couldn't get the button pressed fast enough. Anyway, first of all, I want to mention Colton said something that's very important. Very, very important. And let me put this out here. He said, don't forget, let me find Colton's message because I said I wanted to make sure and feature it. He says, don't forget the mistaken assumption that people who benefit from DEI are unqualified. It's not true. The people who benefit from DEI are qualified. The only reason you have folks doing DEI is because basically these people were overlooked. That's why even when we speak about things like what is the word? When they talk about people that are injured or people that have these different deficiencies, people would just not even give them a chance to see if they can do the work, but actually they can do the work. But anyway, going back to the video that I just played, Austin, the difference between Defense Secretary Austin and Defense Secretary Hegseth is ridiculous to have some sort of comparison between these two. One is less than a lightweight. I mean, everybody wants to say thank you for your service. He served in the National Guard. By the way, I haven't served, but I respect the service people, and I make sure that the policies that I support ensure that they get what they deserve for having served. But Hegseth, look, let's be clear here. Hegseth is nowhere close to having the dignity of Austin, the morality of Austin. Yet, Austin has to sit back and be treated as if he has something to be concerned about, somehow he's a DEI hire. When a guy like Hegseth gets a job, that is the heights of unqualification. Gets a job. Let's be real, folks. Hey, Bridge MCP actually made the first thing in our goal for today. Thank you, Bridge MCP, for being a part of the goal. Listen. YouTube just came with this idea and said, "Hey, go ahead and put a goal out there. That is how you can enhance your channel." And I did it. I need to read up a little bit more about it. So, folks, I have a goal there, and I'm trying to get 10 folks to contribute to the goal. And Bridge MCP has been the first one to get it. Bridge is always there for PDR Posse. She's there for the PDR Posse. So today we got two great folk. We got brother Colton Llanos, and we got sister Bridge MCP. Thank you guys for supporting independent media, something that we got to do. And let me just say this. All of you that support what we're doing here, right? Remember, you're not just supporting a show. You're supporting two shows, our 6 o'clock show on KPFT 90.1 FM. You're also supporting this show here on right, as well as supporting the articles that we write, the blogs that we write, the books that we write, the interviews that we do on other stations, etc., to make sure that we keep the progressive movement going. So you guys who support us, you are integral. I repeat, you are integral in making sure that the progressive message gets out there over and correctly and the way it should. All right, so thank you again, Bridge. Thank you again, Llanos. Let's see what else we got here. Mike says, if I had to guess, I'd bet the FAA wishes the diversity video didn't exist right now. I'm not concerned about any video that comes from the right wing. None at all. Ninguno. There's nothing that you can tell me that puts a hole into DEI. You can tell me that DEI wasn't implemented appropriately in a place or two. That's not going to change anything. And as Beach said yesterday, JD was a DEI hire. He falls under the condition of poor white guy given opportunity to go to an Ivy League school. That's DEI. Bridge, if you want to call in and explain that, feel free to call 281-823-7747. And by the way, anybody right now can give me a call. If you agree with me, disagree with me, you want to add something to the conversation, give me a call at 281-823-7747. Would love to hear your voice. I love you guys. I love when you guys call in. Let's see what else we got here that I need to read. Para ver. Estoy corriendo bien rápido, más rápido que puedo. Allison Dreams from Summerwood. Hey, Allison, you see I remembered this time? I have to do it a few cycles to keep it going. Lee the Bearcat comparing Austin to Hegseth. Kind of a stretch as they both served our country with honor. No, they did not both serve our country with honor. They were both in the military, but they didn't both serve our country with honor. Do not demean, my brother, the difference between the service of Austin and Hegseth. One really served our country. The other didn't. Yes, he was in the military, and yes, he was in the Guard. Maybe he would have gotten a chance to serve the country. Alice Aaron Dreams, thank you very much for your contribution, my dear sister. I think that one is a super chat, right? Thank you, sister. Appreciate it. So please lead the Bearcat. When I explain to you guys about some of us having to work twice as hard for half the recognition, for half the results, that's what I'm talking about. To try to equate what Austin has done with what Hegseth has done, it's a disservice to all the people who actually go out there and put themselves at risk. Brother Ray Brackens, come on in. Let me turn off this transcribe. I still haven't figured out how to turn off the AI from transcribing the conversation. Talk to me, brother.
Yeah, you bring a lot of points. You know, basically what Trump is doing with this whole shenanigans that he's pulling is, you know, when they say merit-based, what I hear is we want to go back to the good old boy system.
Yes.
And we want to nationalize that. And if you notice, if I could just redirect the conversation right quick, you know, since I've been, you know, studying politics, you know, probably as far back as Bush, but I've really been noticing like the MAGAification of America really started after Obama. And, you know, I still, like Greg Palast, believe because the Republican Party did such a good job of basically making voting inconvenient to the fullest that they want to make it a task that only the elites have access to. And to the last effect, I'll say Trump did something that if you ever noticed, I know you noticed it, Egberto, because you're very keen to the politics. Trump basically took Texas politics and made it national, because what Texas politics did since 2008 was basically say anything Obama did is bad and it ruined your life, and I'm going to come in and take it away and fix it. And that was the Greg Abbott model of politics, the Ted Cruz model of politics, and Trump tapped into that and made it his. Thoughts?
You nailed it. I love that you said that. And you see, a lot of people don't get that. They don't understand this. You know, it is all of this has been orchestrated for some time. So you get it. Continue, sir.
Well, that's all I really got. I mean, basically what you're saying about the former captain, Lloyd Austin versus Hegseth, I mean, there's no comparison. You have one clown who was on Fox News getting drunk in a drunk tank, literally, and another man who actually has class, who actually has experience, who actually is a well-rounded individual, as we say. You know, he's been able to you know, paint himself as somebody who can be among the elites and can be very culturally, you know, functional, but that's not good enough if you look at its skin color.
Exactly. And you know, but, you know, again, we'll take care of that. But hey, I got a TikTok I want you guys to listen to. Actually, I got a couple of them. I think I have enough time to do it. So let me get there and then we'll take it on the other side. OK.
All right. Thank you for the time slot, brother. I'll keep watching.
Thank you. All right, folks, you know, we talk about DEI and we talk about all these things that folks want to make believe that we aren't who we are. I want you to listen to this at a congressional hearing from one of my favorite Congress women. Check this out and then we'll take it. Let me see if I can get it up. I think I can get it up. Hold on, let me get it.
Utter disgrace. Having sat and read the text in preparation for today's markup, I have yet another example to tell my constituents about the unserious work of the Republican Party. Now, I'll work with anyone serious about progress who wants to center the people who call this country home. This isn't it. The Committee on Oversight has the broadest jurisdiction in the entire House of Representatives to investigate any topic it chooses, but we are debating legislation that denies the sky is blue, water is wet, and racism is real. The major provision of the bill says to ban anything that acknowledges racism. And a few pages later in the exact same bill, there are multiple provisions discussing the presence of racism. This Republican approach is as predictable as it is nonsensical. On one hand, they're saying that racism does not exist. On the other hand, they are saying there is rampant reverse racism. Well, how do you reverse something that never existed in the first place? Riddle me that. While this Republican policy may have a new name, it's the same old tired game. Look, y'all are entitled to your opinions, but not a denial of the facts. Do you all know your history? Do you know American history? The original Constitution counted enslaved individuals as 3/5 of a person. During World War II, the federal government forcibly relocated and incarcerated 110,000 Japanese Americans. The FHA practiced redlining in the 1930s and 60s to deny mortgages to Black Americans, which is why we have a racial wealth gap today. I could go on. The GI Bill, which is supposed to be race neutral, denied access to Black Americans, denying them equal access to education and housing benefits, which is why we do not have generational wealth. Don't talk to me about merit when those Black servicemen fought for our freedoms. And I'd also just like to take a personal note of privilege to say, please keep Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s name out of your mouths. Yes. Your perversion of his words and his mission when his children have asked you to stop invoking his name and perverting his work when he was a proud and unapologetic Black man fighting for equality for Black Americans and all marginalized people. So you all are entitled to your opinions, but not a denial of the facts. But I'm not surprised that you would deny American history. What I am, though, is committed. Committed to speaking truth to power, committed to standing up for marginalized communities and vulnerable people, committed to ensuring that everyone has equal opportunity to buy a house, to work a job, to pursue higher education, and to live in a society that is fair and just. This bill titled the Dismantling DEI Act.
And I hope you got that, because I have another one, but I'm gonna hold off a while. This has to do with a bill that they're trying to pass you can't talk about racism anymore in government or anywhere else, right? And what she did is said, the bill makes no sense, and I think she did a great job of explaining it. Alice Aaron Dreams, thank you so kindly she gifted 5 more memberships today. Hey, she is our star this week. Thank you so kindly. And we have new members: CC Carey, William Moore, Trey Legal. Hey, Trey. That's my Jack and Jill son. How you doing, Trey? Great to have you here, my dear son. The 7 Sacramento of Health and Nations of Gandhis. A lot of folks took up Alice Aaron Dreams' offer for a gifted membership. Thank you, guys. Alice Aaron, you are beautiful, my dear. Thank you for that. Anyway, folks, so I hope you understood what, you know what? Sometimes I think I'm going crazy. I know her name and I can't remember. She's a part of the squad, which I have a T-shirt with her on it that I made with her on it. So anyway, there is a man that said something that came up in my feed yesterday, because of the things that I talk about. It's one of the reasons he showed up. I want you to listen to this, because one of the reasons that I make sure and I speak to everybody is because I understand. Come on, hold on. I understand that we are being played. And that's why I love on everybody. I don't care if you're a MAGA. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, or whatever. I make sure and get to you. I want you to listen to this guy. What this guy is saying, it came up in my feed a couple of days ago. It's something that when we all learn, maybe we'll stick a bit more together. Let's see if I can get that going now. And here we go.
They don't want you to hear. You're not living in freedom. You're living in a cage, and the bars are made of every lie you've ever been sold. The land of opportunity, it's a plantation where you're the worker and they're the masters. They own you. They own your time, your labor, your future. And the worst part, you think it's your choice. You think you're free. But let's call it what it is, a rigged game, and you're the pawn. You think voting changes anything? That politicians care about your voice? Please, the ones you elect are just the smiling faces of the same damn machine. The real power, it's hidden in boardrooms, in backroom deals, in billion-dollar lobbies that decide your fate before you even wake up. They don't care about you. They care about their yachts, their profits, their control. You're not a citizen to them, you're a cog. Do you know what they fear most? It's not protests. It's not your complaints on social media. It's you waking up. It's you realizing you're the fuel for their empire. That without your sweat, your time, your life, they have nothing. They've built this entire circus to keep you distracted. Your phone, your news feed, your job that barely pays enough to keep you alive. They've got you running on a treadmill while they hoard every damn resource. They've stolen your future and sold you the lie that you're the one to blame. Work harder, they say. Sacrifice more. Meanwhile, they sit on mountains of wealth built on the backs of people like you. They mock you while you break yourself for crumbs. And what do they give you in return? A system designed to chew you up and spit you out. A promise of retirement that vanishes the moment you need it. And when you finally realize you've been robbed, they tell you to shut up and get back in line. But here's the truth they can't erase. You are the power, not them. You. The system doesn't exist without your labor, your compliance, your silence. The moment you stand up, the moment you demand better, their house of cards falls. They know it. That's why they keep you afraid, divided, distracted. But fear is a weapon that only works if you let it. So the question is, how much longer will you let them win? How much longer will you trade your life for their lies? Wake up. Stand up. The game ends the moment you say it does. The change doesn't start with someone else. It starts with you. Right here. Right now. Are you ready to fight for the life they've stolen from you, or are you content being their pawn? Let me tell you a secret.
Now, when I heard that the first time, wait, come on, where are we? Yeah. When I heard that the first time, it was like, wow, this guy nailed it. This guy nailed it. I don't know who he is, but I mean, the message, I wasn't caring about who he is. I cared about the message that he gave. And that message is, in fact, the message. And I wish more of my MAGA brothers and sisters would actually see it. Let's see. Beach Lover says, MAGA is the new KKK. I agree. J. Ray say, exactly, Bridge MCP. Soul Car for Gas Money says, can you provide the link for that? Of course I can provide the link for that. Let me go ahead and let's see. Get the link, Egberto. ¿Dónde está el link? I missed that. I am getting the link for you. Here is the link for that message, guys. I just put it in the feed. Okay, let's see who else do I have here that I need to respond to. Anybody wants to call in? 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Michael Radin says, Egberto, can you read this out in full for Eric? Here he goes. Brandeis, inequity in the implementation of the GI Bill. The research took a close look at available data from annual VA reports and veteran surveys collected between 1950 and 1987. According to the data analysis, the U.S. government allocated similar amounts of funds per person for GI benefits to both black and white veterans. Nevertheless, there was a contrasting distribution pattern of benefits overall, with black veterans receiving fewer home loan guarantees. This means that black veterans were staying in impoverished areas instead of moving to the suburbs as their white counterparts did. It was also found that though black veterans received more heavily subsidized educational opportunities, many of these opportunities were of low quality. Instead of enrolling in high school, college, or graduate programs as their white counterparts did, many black veterans registered for vocational training programs, which offered a lower return when it came to lifetime earnings. At lasting impact, many descendants of white World War II veterans can still feel the value of the GI Bill, provided their family members, white white service members were able to obtain funding for the education and housing needed to build a solid middle-class foundation. Generational wealth was built upon that, with their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren feeling the repercussions of stable, secure housing, college education, and more. Decades later, Black veterans, however, didn't have the opportunity to build this foundation for generational wealth, especially in terms of home ownership. And as decades pass, the financial gap widened. This research done notes that while the descendants of Black veterans do hold more wealth than those of Black non-veterans, the wealth gap between the families of white veterans and the families of Black veterans is staggering. The research found that the families of white veterans held on average 32 times the wealth of Black veterans. Look, all these things, Michael Rudnin, are things that we know. As I was expressing to Eddie this morning, we like to throw these things under the rug. But, let me tell you why a lot of it is coming out now. Because remember, capitalism needs to keep a pecking order. The problem that we have now is our white underclass, Appalachia, are now becoming seeing what has happened to Blacks and other people of color. And the reality is now, because capitalism is extractive, and as you take a bigger portion of the pie, you start affecting more people. And whereas they could keep those people hidden in the mountains, that poverty is coming down to white America, not only in Appalachia, but throughout the country. And as that happens and it becomes exposed, you need a boogeyman. And to solve the boogeyman issue as you continue to reap the rewards of capitalism, what has to happen? You need to find a scapegoat to temporarily take you over. And Trump is that guy that the plutocracy is using. That's why Bezos and everybody jumped onto the Trump bandwagon now. He is now their savior. He's the one that's going to hold back the pitchforks for a bit longer. But what I'm saying is the pitchforks, there's just so far you can hold the pitchforks. To my rich brothers and sisters, you better listen to progressives, else the pitchforks are going to come. And the funny thing about it is the pitchforks are not going to be coming from the left. The pitchforks are going to be coming from MAGA. As soon as they realize that they've been had, they're the ones that love using AK-47s and AR-15s. Be warned. Be warned. Be warned. Anyway, we are at 57, folks. We are at 57, near the end of the program. So what I'd like to say, if anybody wants to call in for another minute or so, and then I can do my ask, 281-823-7747. Again, 281-823-7747. Give me a call if you want to say anything. If I miss something, you want to cuss me out, you want to say, Egberto, what the hell is wrong with you? My brother, Patrick Magner, I got another good call coming in. How you doing, brother?
Note taking has stopped.
Doing fine. You said you have another call coming in?
No. That's you. I said a good brother calling in. That's you.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm trying to think of how to kind of push back or fight back. Today, I canceled 2 Amazon subscriptions. It's not going to be as convenient for me to shop and not get deliveries, but I'm committed to that for as long as I can. Another thing I did today too was my own version of DEI. I went to a beauty barber on Barker Cypress, barber shop. And I figured if I spent money there instead of at a Great Clips or something else, I'd help some other people out. And it's the first time I've ever had a 2-hour haircut. It was pretty interesting. I've never had a straight razor used on me or anything. It was fun. I look a lot better. And I put money towards somebody that's going to be feeding their family instead of putting money on a stock market. So what I'm asking people to do is just get creative and let's see how we can get our money away from the people that are hurting us. I've already encouraged people to avoid Facebook if they can. and just kind of think of where you're spending your money.
Let me tell you something. You are one of the most socially responsible people that I have met. I'm honored to have you on this program. Actually, have you on both programs because you're an active caller on both of our programs. And I think if more people are socially responsible as you are, and again, I love that you said you gave up Amazon. You don't have to do all these different things as long as you're doing a part of the action. And you know, you listen to Patrick. Patrick did it his way to show social responsibility. All of us can do that. This is my social responsibility. I've given up my company to do this kind of stuff. You've done the work that you've done, Patrick, the work that Bridge MCP does, the work that all of us here that are members of the PDR posse. And let me even call out some of our MAGA. Eric. Eric has been Eric, you know, we want to knock Eric upside his head, but he's here every day. And he's actually, believe it or not, supported with his greenbacks progressive development. So, hey, look, we'll do it from all parts as long as we get the message out. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Patrick. Anything else you want to say, my brother?
No, that's it. Just calling people to get creative and see how you can push back.
Thank you, brother. And that's what we got to do. Anyway, folks, this is a time for my ask. Please remember, how can you really support Politics Done Right so that we can continue to do what we're doing? Become a paid subscriber of our newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's a coffee. I know if you saw me at a coffee shop, you'd say, let me get a progressive activist a coffee. Well, become a paid subscriber of our newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Or if you're on the Substack website already, just go to egberto.substack.com. That is how we can get this message out. A lot of reporters are now leaving. Oh, thank you for bringing that up. There's an Ask Egberto this weekend. Tomorrow, Ask Egberto at 11 o'clock Central. Let me find the link. Thank you for that. The attendance is going to be bad. I messed up again and didn't tell folks. Here we go. Ask Egberto anything. It's at politicsdoneright.com/ask Egberto to get the sign up link. It's free and we can have a talk. You talk directly to me it's your program. It's a Zoom call and it's yours. You can tell me whatever you need to tell me. You can cuss me out if you need to cuss me out. You can do whatever you want to do. But let's talk. I don't care if you're MAGA. I don't care if you're green. I don't care if you're red. I don't care who you are. Become a part of the Politics Done Right PDR posse, politicsdoneright.com/ask Egberto. I just put that into the feed. Sign up for it tomorrow. Let me hear from you tomorrow. We haven't had it in 2 months because, again, there was so much going on. And now I didn't advertise. So come on out for, hey, Mike Cisak, I hope to see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I also want to see Bridge and everybody else. If you have the time, that is. Anyway, folks, support the program. You can also support me via Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. But if you want to make me very, very happy, become a paid subscriber of the newsletter. I would love to be able to hire a couple of folks, but I can't get the hire until we get over 1,000 and change in subscription. And we're just at about, I don't know, 30% or so now. So folks, we need to get to, we need to get to like 1250, something. I did some calculations a few days back, but let's do it. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Anyway, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. Love you all. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.